What's up, everyone? Bob's Blu-rays here, and I'm back again with another collection update. Today, I'll be going over my entire Kino Lorber collection, so stay tuned, and I'll get into it right after this. Alrighty, so the way I'm going to show off the collection is going to be starting with the 4K collection. Now, Kino Lorber, all of their 4K titles do come with the slipcover in the original pressing, so I don't have to worry about having non-slips, because I don't buy anything that doesn't come with the slipcover if it came with it in the original pressing. Then I'm going to go over the Blu-rays with slipcovers, and then their Blu-ray collection without slipcovers, and then double features and things like that, but I'll talk about it as I go. So let's go ahead and get started with the 4K collection. We are going to go over it in alphabetical order. I believe they're all in alphabetical order, but let's start with The Apartment here. This is the first movie that I'm going to show. I haven't seen this, but I know Tim Talks Talkies has talked about this. He's a big fan of that one, so I do need to check that out at some point. Next up, we've got Dressed to Kill, which I've actually never seen. It's still sealed here. I do want to see Dressed to Kill. I do need to pop it in. I've thought about watching it at times. I just never got around to it. Next up is Eastern Promises. This is Naomi Watts, and we've also got, why am I blanking on his name? Viggo Mortensen and Vincent Cassel. I could not, for the life of me, get a good slipcover. They were all damaged, and even this one, this is like the third one, and it's still a little beat up. But I love Naomi Watts. I'll always talk about her, and I am a big fan of this. I really like this. I thought it was a really good movie. You got David Cronenberg directing this one. I like A History of Violence as well. He's also directed that. But I was a huge fan of this movie. I thought it was really well made. So, big fan of Eastern Promises. It looked great in 4K as well. Everyone in the entire world seems to be a fan of this movie except for me. No, it's not because I'm not a big Jim Carrey fan. I just did not like this movie. I just could not get into it. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I know a ton of people that are big fans of it. I'll have to give it a rewatch someday, but I was not into this at all. No, absolutely not. I haven't seen A Fistful of Dollars. I need to check this out at some point. I haven't seen the whole entire trilogy. There's 3 of them. A Few Dollars More is the next one, and I don't have The Good, the Bad, the Ugly because that slipcover is ridiculous amounts of money. I do have a custom slipcover from Side Hustle Cinema, but I don't have the real slipcover of it. We've got The Great Escape up next. I need to check this out as well. I've never seen The Great Escape. I really want to see that, though. It looks like it would be something that's up my alley. We've got Hannibal, the sequel to Silence of the Lambs. I'm not a fan of Hannibal. I thought it was really bad. I didn't like it. I love Silence of the Lambs. I did not like that. We've got Hard Target. Huge fan of this movie, Jean-Claude Van Damme. I believe it's one of his best, top 5 for me, easily, I would say. It's a lot of fun. I haven't watched the 4K, though, so I'm really looking forward to checking that out and seeing what it looks like. We got In Bruges, I believe is how it's pronounced, or In Bruges. I have not seen this. It's still sealed. I've never watched it. I was a huge fan of Indecent Proposal. I watched it a couple months ago for the first time. I wanted to go through some of my Kino Lorber titles, and I was really into this movie. It captivated me. I loved the dialogue, loved the story. I was a huge fan of Indecent Proposal. Next up, we've got In the Heat of the Night. I have seen this once, and it was way back in film class. Next up after that is Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I've never seen this. I've never seen the original one either. That's from 78. I believe the other one's from the 50s. Next up, we have got Killer's Kiss. This is a Stanley Kubrick movie. I've not seen it. It's black and white from 1955. I love the consistency of Kino Lorber, the spines, the back of it, all the information. It's great. The Killing, I've also never seen this one. This is another Stanley Kubrick movie. I just haven't gotten around to either one of those. Next up after that is Mad Max. I've never seen this in its entirety. I'm going to have to check out that entire, I believe, trilogy. Up after that is going to be Misery, which I just recently rewatched on 4K. Looked great, and this movie still holds up. It's such a good movie. Misery's absolutely fantastic. Next up after that is Out of Sight, which I also just watched a couple months ago for the first time. I really liked it. Very sharp dialogue. It's a very good movie. Did I love it? No, but I really did like it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. 1998. You got George Clooney and also Jennifer Lopez, but I really like this one. I was a big fan of it. Steven Soderbergh is the director of this one. Next up after that is Paths of Glory. I haven't checked this one out. Black and white as well. Next up after that is going to be the score. I can't remember if I've seen this when I was younger, but either way, I'm going to have to check out the 4K of this. Really want to check that one out. Next up after that is going to be Silence of the Lambs. Huge fan of this movie. I absolutely love it. It's a masterpiece. It deserved to win Best Picture just like it did, so very deserving of that. I'm glad it did win Best Picture. Next up is going to be Some Like It Hot. I've watched this in film class. I need to rewatch the 4K of this. I have to watch this at some point. I have to rewatch it. I remember really liking it in film class. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Never seen it. Couldn't talk about it that much. We've got Tropic Thunder up after that. I have seen Tropic Thunder. I haven't watched the 4K transfer of this, though. When I got this in the mail from Kino Lorber during a sale, it came as the slipcover was trashed, and then the loose disc, cracked pieces. It was crazy. So I called them, and they hooked me up with another copy of it. So, yeah, Tropic Thunder. I'm looking forward to checking out the 4K. It's a fun one. I remember enjoying it. And then next up, to complete my current 4K collection, I'm behind on some of their titles I still need to catch up on, is going to be The Usual Suspects. And I've actually, come to think about it, I've never seen this, so I'm going to have to check this one out. Alrighty, so continuing on, we're going to get into the Blu-rays with slipcovers. A lot of these I have not seen yet. Some of them I have, but I'd say the majority of these movies I have not seen, so I'll probably run through them pretty quickly. We've got Ants. This came with Bees, I believe, and a couple other movies. I haven't watched any of them yet, so that's Ants. Next up after that is going to be The Begilded with Clint Eastwood. A lot of these came during a sale. Like 50 titles I had bought during a sale. I've never seen that one. The Blue Iguana I've never seen. I really like the artwork on that, though. Breakout is another one. This guy always reminds, he just looks just like Josh Lucas. Right there, for some reason. Obviously, it's not Josh Lucas. This movie came out in 1975, but tell me what you think. This is Charles Bronson. Last year, they had released so many Charles Bronson movies, and I need to check this one out. I haven't watched it yet. We've got Busting up after that. I have not seen Busting. I have to check that out. Next up after that, we've got Catch the Heat. Haven't seen it. Another Kino Lorber title, of course. We have got The Coogan's Bluff. So Coogan's Bluff is up next. Clint Eastwood as well. Very nice slipcover there. Haven't seen it. Deep Rising. Absolutely love this movie. There's your original artwork of Deep Rising. And Tim actually has a one-sheet poster of that, which is awesome. I love Deep Rising. Tim's a huge fan of Deep Rising. It's such a fun movie. It's underrated. Sea Creature. It's awesome. If you haven't seen Deep Rising and you enjoy Sea Creature movies, check out Deep Rising. Next up is going to be Deep Star 6. I didn't love this one. I did enjoy the last 30 minutes, but the first 45 minutes of this kind of bored me. But Deep Star 6 isn't bad. Sean Cunningham directed it, same director of the original Friday the 13th. Next up after that, we have got The Eiger Sanction, another Clint Eastwood movie I have not seen. Next up after that is going to be Electra Glide in Blue. So Electra Glide in Blue. Haven't seen it. Don't know too much about this. Next up after that is going to be The Final Option. I don't know anything about this one either. Still sealed. Most of these are still sealed. A Force of One. Another Chuck Norris movie. This is like part of 3 movies that came out at the same time. I believe I have all 3 of them, but I haven't seen any of them. Next up after that is going to be Gambit. I got it because it has a slipcover. Maybe at some point I'll check it out. I'm sure I've heard good things about it. I'm sure I'll watch it at some point. We've got Get Crazy. This looks like fun. Never seen it. Next up is going to be Golden Needles. Another one that I haven't seen, but you got Jim Kelly and Joe Don Baker. I believe Joe Don Baker was in the original Walking Tall, but I could be wrong. Next up is going to be another Chuck Norris one that came out at that same time. Good Guys Wear Black. Haven't seen it. Another one, Happy Birthday to Me. This is an awesome slipcover. However, I did not like this movie. I was just not a fan of it at all. I didn't enjoy it. I had watched the Mill Creek title version of it. And I'll check this one out at some point, see if the transfer is any better, if it's different. And I just have to give it a rewatch. eventually, but on my birthday, I usually choose to watch something else. Hudson Hawk is up next. I've heard awesome things. I haven't seen it. I've heard it's pretty wild, and it does have Andy McDowell in it, so I do need to check that out. Another one is going to be I'm Dangerous Tonight. I haven't seen it. Heard good things about that one. Heard good things about most of these. Joe Kidd. I love the slipcover. I need to check this movie out. It seems like something I would enjoy. And Man on the Moon is up next. I haven't seen Man on the Moon, but shout out to Fish. He's the one who grabbed me this one with the slipcover. Continuing on, we have got Marty. This has come as a recommendation from a good friend of mine, Will. I have to check this out. If you're watching this, Will, I still haven't seen it. I'll get around to it at some point. Next up after that is going to be Mysterious Island of Beautiful Women. I probably mostly grabbed it for the slipcover at the time. I was kind of completing all of their slipcovers. That's something I'll check out, though. Next up, New Year's Evil, another one that I did not like. I don't actually own any other version of this, so this is my first one. But Scream Factory originally put that out. I don't like New Year's Evil. The Octagon, another Chuck Norris one I have not seen. I have to check that out. We have got Planet of the Vampires. I've heard awful things about this movie. I think that's another Scream Factory title originally. We've got Play Misty for Me. I've heard good things about this. This seems like something that my buddy Chris and I would really enjoy, so I messaged him recently, told him I want to watch that with him. Savage Sisters is up next. I haven't seen it. I have to check that out. I like the slipcover. We have got The Screaming Woman, another one that I mostly grabbed for the slipcover at the time. So next up is Scream Pretty Peggy. I'll say that 10 times fast, but I haven't seen it. Like the slipcover as well. Awesome artwork on a lot of these. Son of Samson. I've not seen this. I don't know when I'll ever watch it. We've got Steel Justice, which is a Martin Kove movie from Karate Kid. Also up is going to be Stranger on the Run. Never seen it. Like I said, most of these I haven't seen. Stunt Rock, one that I actually do want to check out. I haven't seen it. We've got Tarantulas, The Deadly Cargo. This is another one of those bug insect movies. We've got Tentacles. I have not seen Tentacles, but awesome artwork on it, and I really like the reversible artwork too. Big fan of it. Awesome stuff. Next up is going to be Terror Out of the Sky, the other one of those insect movies. I'll have to check all three of those out. I've heard they're a little boring, but I do want to watch them all. Next up is going to be Times Square. I do want to see this. I've never seen it. I'm sure I've heard good things about it, though. Some people watching might tell you that. Two Mules for Sister Sarah. Never seen it. I need to check that out. I want to watch all of Clint Eastwood's movies I haven't seen. We've got The Victim, which I've also never seen. It's a very short movie, only 73 minutes long. I believe it was like a TV movie, made for TV. Violent City is up next, another Charles Bronson one that I do want to see. I want to check that out at some point. And then we also got up The Valdez Horses, another Charles Bronson movie. And finally, last but not least, this is going to complete my single standalone Blu-ray collection with slipcovers. This is going to be Without Warning, and I believe this was another Scream Factory title originally as well. And then 4 more titles which are also slipcover titles. However, these ones are double features, so I separated these kind of right next to them. But anyways, we got FX and FX2, which I've never seen either one of those, but I love Brian Dennehy, big fan of him, rest in peace. We've got They Call Me Mr. Tibbs and The Organization. This does actually come with In the Heat of the Night. It's a double pack, but I wanted it because of the slipcover, and the slipcover is actually like creased right there. If you could see it, that's pretty bad. But I wanted to check that out. I do want to watch those because I've seen the original one. Next up, we've got The Abominable Dr. Phoebes and Dr. Phoebes Rises Again. Another double feature right there. I haven't seen either one of those. And haven't seen either one of these either. We have got Salt and Pepper and One More Time. Awesome slipcover right there of the double feature. All right, now moving on to Blu-ray standalone non-slip covers. So it's just all my Blu-ray collection without slipcovers, basically. We have got 8 Million Ways to Die. The majority of these I probably also have not seen. I ended up buying 50 movies, like I said, during a sale, and I think 48 of them were blind buys at the time. So next up, we've got Angie. Never seen it. Another one is going to be Another Stakeout. I haven't seen this one, but it looks like fun. We have got The Associate. I've never seen it, with Whoopi Goldberg. Beware the Blob. I did watch this one, and I think it's a terrible sequel to the remake of The Blob. Next up after that is going to be Big Trouble. I haven't seen it, but I've heard decent things. Next up is going to be Bird on a Wire. Haven't seen it, but we got Mel Gibson and Goldie Hawn, I believe. Blaze, Paul Newman, I believe. Yep, never seen it. We've got Body Slam, another one I have not seen yet. We have got Bustin Loose with Richard Pryor. Haven't seen it. Cannibal Apocalypse, which is something I do want to watch. I really do have a big interest in checking this one out, so I need to get around to it at some point. We've got Career Opportunities, which is good, but I don't think this is great. I do like it. Jennifer Connelly's perfection in this movie. But yeah, it's good. It's just that I didn't love it. I think it could have been better, but it's still fun. It's still a fun movie. Okay, next up is going to be Coming Home, which I haven't seen, but it's something that sounds like it would interest me. I like the idea of it. You got Jane Fonda, Jon Voight, and Bruce Dern, so I love that cast. Next up after that is going to be another Chuck Norris one, Delta Force 2. And I believe they came out with all three of those with slips recently. Fatherhood, Patrick Swayze, haven't seen it. Firebirds, have not seen this one either, but I heard it's like a Top Gun ripoff, I believe. It's got Nicolas Cage in it. The Good Son. Now, this movie's excellent. I do have a custom slip from Side Hustle for this one as well, so if you're looking to get that with a slip cover. Next up is going to be Green Card. I have never seen Green Card, but I do want to watch it because, like I said, I am a huge fan of Andie MacDowell. I think she's great. Next up after that is going to be Gross Anatomy, I believe is how it is pronounced. You got Matthew Modine in this. I do like Matthew Modine. I haven't seen it. I didn't even know I had that, but that sounds interesting to me. The Hard Way, this was okay. It's not bad. It's decent. Above average for me. Didn't love it, didn't hate it. Heartbreak Hotel, one that I haven't seen. I'm going to have to check that out at some point. We've got Hope Springs. I did not like this, and I really wanted to because it's got Minnie Driver and Heather Graham in this movie. How could you go wrong? But it did. I did not like this movie. It's so boring. Was not a fan. Next up after that is going to be I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. I haven't seen it. I need to check this out. Heard good things about that one as well. We have got Junior Bonner. This one sounds like fun. It sounds like something I would be into. Need to check that out. Steve McQueen is the actor in that one. And then Just Visiting. I haven't watched this in absolutely ages. But I need to check this out because it's been a long time. And I remember seeing it in theaters and I remember thinking it was okay. And then I heard it was getting a Blu-ray release. I believe Mill Creek also put it out at some point, but I do want to revisit this one. Continuing on, we've got Losing It, which I believe I've seen this once. Tom Cruise, yes, Tom Cruise. So I have seen this once. I was on a huge raunchy comedy kick from like the 80s. It's okay. I didn't really love this one. Didn't hate it. Just didn't think it was that great. Next up after that is going to be Mad Dog and Glory. Never seen it. I don't know much about that one. Next up again after that is going to be Mad Love. I have seen this once a long time ago, probably on VHS. I'm going to have to recheck that one out at some point. Next up is going to be Manhattan Project. Don't know much about that one. I've never seen it. Again, we have got another one here, The Marrying Man. I've never seen this one. Don't know much about it. We've got Masquerade, which a lot of people are big fans of this one. I didn't think it was all that great. I wasn't a huge fan. I would say for me it was kind of below average, but I know a lot of people that are big fans. Next up, we've got Moving Violations, which I've been meaning to watch. I just never got around to it yet, but I'm going to have to check that out. My Bodyguard, a classic from my childhood. I'm a huge fan of this movie. My dad introduced me to it when I was a kid. It's a bullying movie. You've got a very young Matt Dillon in this one. I like this movie quite a bit. It still held up pretty well upon a rewatch recently in last year or two. But it's not as great as I remember being as a kid, but still like My Bodyguard. It's a good bullying movie. We have got My Boyfriend's Back, which I've never seen. I'm going to have to put this aside. Maybe I'll watch this tonight. I don't know much about this one, but Sean Cunningham did produce it. So he's the one who directed the original Friday the 13th, like I had mentioned. So I might check this out tonight after this video. I do want to watch one more video. I was going to edit the video and watch a movie. Maybe I'll watch My Boyfriend's Back. I've heard good things. It sounds fun. My Father, the Hero. I've never seen it, but Mill Creek also put this out. You got Katherine Heigl in it. Next up is going to be My Science Project. Never seen it. Next up after that is going to be Class Reunion. I've never seen this one, but it's from 1982. Haven't seen it. We have got Nightmare Beach, which I'm a fan of this movie. I enjoy it quite a bit. 88 Films has also put out a version of this movie, but I like Nightmare Beach. I had fun with it. It's not like the greatest movie in the world, but I enjoy it quite a bit. We've got No Retreat, No Surrender. I have seen that a long time ago, I believe. I can't remember anything about it. One Good Cop. I don't think I've seen this. If I did, I was really, really young. Something my dad would have showed me. The Pit. I've never seen. Sounds like something I might be into, potentially. Play It to the Bone. I need to check this out. I've never watched this. Maybe I'll watch this one tonight. I've got a couple options. Should have watched these before. Next up is going to be The Real McCoy. I have not watched The Real McCoy yet. Another one is going to be The Reavers. I haven't seen it. I don't know much about it other than Steve McQueen's in it. The Rich Man's Wife. Never seen it, but you got Halle Berry in that one. Running Scared is up next. I haven't seen it yet, but my buddy Mike has recommended this one to me. I got to check this out at some point. We've got Rush up after that. I really liked Rush. I think this movie is extremely powerful, very emotional. It's just a very good movie about addiction, and it's very in your face with it. I really like Rush. If you're a fan of movies about addiction or anything like that, this is a really good one. I was really looking forward to checking that one out, and it did not disappoint. Semi-Tough. Yes, I just had to go through my collection today and make sure I had this, and I do, because Adam had just dropped a video and he just picked this up. I like Semi-Tough. I was a big fan of Semi-Tough. I watched it a couple of years back. A Simple Twist of Fate, I've never seen. And next up, we've got The Sixth Man. We have got Marlon Wayans in this one. It is a basketball movie. I don't know too much about it other than the fact that it is a basketball movie. But it looks like something I'd be into. It looks like some fun. Octavia Spencer's also in this one, so you got a good cast. Alrighty, moving on, we have got Some Girls. This is such an interesting movie. It's a very different, like, tale on a romantic love story type of thing. He kind of has a thing for all three of the girls. They're all sisters. One of them's pretty young. She's into him. He's not so much into her, but it's a very interesting plot, I guess. My dad fell asleep during it. I stayed awake, and I was just kind of like, I didn't really get it that much. But Some Girls, it's okay. Didn't mind it. It's definitely not Loverboy. We need Loverboy on Blu-ray. Stick is up next. I have never seen Stick. You got Burt Reynolds. Next up after that is Swing Vote. I did watch this in theaters, and I bought it. I need to rewatch it. I love Kevin Costner, of course. I thought this was okay, above average, when I saw it in theaters a long time ago. Next up after that is going to be Tank. I have not seen Tank, but you've got James Gardner in that one. Next up after that is going to be Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. I believe this was rumored to get a 4K, or it still might be getting a 4K at some point. You have got Tough Guys. This was pretty fun, not great. I remember asking my dad if he had seen it. He was like, yeah, it's all right, but I need to rewatch it at some point. It's a fun one. Tough Turf, one of my absolute favorite releases from Kino Lorber. I was so excited when this got announced on 4K. I couldn't wait to buy it on Blu-ray. Absolutely love Tough Turf. It's just one of my favorites. It's another bullying movie. If you like Karate Kid, you'll love Tough Turf. This is 80s just perfection to me. I love Tough Turf. Next up is going to be Up the Creek. This is a pretty fun one. I enjoy this one. It's a somewhat raunchy comedy, just, you know, 80s comedy. It's pretty fun. 1984. Next up is going to be Unstrung Heroes, which I actually haven't watched yet. I don't believe I have. It's open, but I believe I opened it and then I never got around to watching it yet. So I do have to check that one out because, once again, Andy McDowell. Untamed Heart, another one of my favorite Kino Lorber releases. It's a little strange watching it back now, but I remember this being something I loved. My dad showed me when I was a kid, and I loved it. And I still do really, really enjoy this one. It's really romantic, but Slightly creepy a little bit as well, looking back at it now. But that stuff doesn't bother me the way it bothers other people. I still love this movie. It still holds a special place in my heart. So Untamed Heart, yeah, I'll have to rewatch that someday with my dad again. The War, this movie's so emotional. This is such a good movie. You got Kevin Costner and a very young Elijah Wood before The Faculty even came out. This is an incredible movie. The War is really good. I highly recommend all of you checking that out. And then last but not least, probably my absolute favorite, easily top 5 Kino Lorber titles is Youngblood. If you like sports, oh my goodness. I'm not a big hockey guy. I'm more basketball, football, and baseball. But Youngblood is so good. I love this movie. You've got Keanu Reeves is in this. You got Patrick Swayze, Rob Lowe, Cynthia Gibb. This movie kicks ass. Love this movie. So much fun. Had a blast with it. I would highly recommend checking this out if you're a big fan of sports at all. It's a fun one, and I love the ending of this movie. I love the way it ends. I am a huge fan of Youngblood. This actually is the last of my Blu-ray collection from Kino Lorber without slipcovers. Next up is going to be the double features right here. So these are going to be all of the double features. Let's go ahead and get into them. There's 4 of them. I'll get it kicked off with these right here. So we have got Big Business and Scenes from a Mall. This was like $5 for 2 movies during one of the sales. Fish recommended it to me, so I grabbed it. Another one is going to be Porky's 2 and Porky's Revenge. I'm a fan of the whole Porky's franchise. There's actually like a 4th one from the 2000s, which I've never seen, but honestly, I like Porky's Revenge more than Porky's 2. But people don't understand. Porky's has a lot of social commentary in these movies. People just think it's all raunchy comedy, but there's some good and important social commentary in the entire Porky's trilogy, especially the first one and the second. Next up is going to be Betsy's Wedding and Holy Matrimony, which I've never seen. Another one that came as a recommendation from Fish. And for $5 for 2 movies, can't go wrong. And absolutely last but certainly not least, we've got Too Much and Miami Rhapsody. I've never seen either one of these as well. And these, I believe, came as recommendations from Fish as well, potentially. So a lot of these have come as recommendations from Fish, the film collector. But that's my entire Kino Lorber collection. Blu-rays with slips, 4Ks with slips, things like that. I would love to hear what you have in your collection. Which ones are your favorites, things like that. But yes, please comment down below. I always do enjoy reading your comments. I always say that, but I mean it. It means a lot to people like myself. And next episode of my collection update for Sunday, I think I'll go over my what you see right here, my entire MVD rewind collection. I'll go over all of those and talk about the movies that I've seen and just kind of show my collection off. So please drop a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you haven't already done so, hit the bell notification, all that stuff, and I'll see everyone on the next one. Have a great day.